Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to I Hate Rock Music, and this video is about the band Bull Angus. Came out of Poughkeepsie, New York. We're around from 1971 to 1972, and I think certainly the first album is just a classic. It really is a masterpiece, and I'm not sure why a lot of people who review it don't seem very impressed. I think it checks all the boxes. So the band was Gino Charles on drums, Larry LaFalce on guitar, Dino Paolillo on guitars, Ron Piccolo on keys, Lenny Venditti on bass, and Frankie Previte on vocals. And two guitars, keys, bass, and vocals, and drums. And the two guitarists, they've got two really outstanding guitar players. And fortunately, they even point out on the record that one guitar player is on one channel and one's on the other. So we can distinguish their different solos, but they're both excellent guitar players, and I think they compare somewhat favorably to bands like Deep Purple and Uriah Heep, but have a distinctly American feel. And but I almost think they're as good as those bands. I just think their work is totally excellent. They were named after the farm where they rehearsed at. I always wonder where that name came from, but they apparently rehearsed at Bull Angus Farm, and so that's where their name came from. And they got signed to Mercury in 1971. So Mercury was signing a lot of interesting hard rock bands at that time, and they snapped up Bull Angus. And both albums are produced by Vinny Testa, but oddly, the first album is recorded extremely well, and then the second album is kind of muddy. It's definitely a lot more ambitious as far as how much is on there. The first album is just the band, but there's a lot of augmentation on the second album, so that might contribute to why it's so muddy. But one of the interesting side stories, of course, is um, Frankie Previte, the vocalist, who is a really cool vocalist, definitely outstanding, has that classic 1971-72 sound, but he's definitely an exceptional vocalist and really makes the band that much better. But he later went on to write that song "Time of My Life" from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, so it's good to see that he landed on his feet. But the two Bull Angus albums are one is excellent. The first one is excellent. The second one, not so good. But being a record collector, of course, I'm a completist, and I have the second album as well, Free for All. And they do a cover of Savoy Truffle that could have been a lot better. But one of the things about the second album, one, it's really short, and two, the organ is used a lot less, and there's a lot more piano, and the songs just aren't as direct or as evolved as the ones on the second record. But there's still some great work on it. The guitar work, of course, is excellent where there is it, and they let a second vocalist sing on a lot of the material, which is he's a lot weaker singer than their main singer Frankie Previte. And they released two singles, Run Don't Stop, which is a killer song off the first album in 71, and then a second song, Children of Our Dreams, in 1972 as a single. And it's not a very good ballad even, but apparently they were trying to have some more commercial success. Apparently the reviews were good enough for Mercury to let them record a second album. So in this case, we're fortunate that they're not another one of these one-album bands. And the second album is quite a disappointment, but it still has some worthwhile effort. And so I'll give them props for the second album, even though it's not near as good. But that first album, just all around great. The songs are really great. They're really interesting arrangements. All the breaks are really killer. The guitar work is amazing, and there's a lot of dual guitar work on it that kind of reminds me of course, the whole two guitar attack that Thin Lizzy capitalized on 5 years later, but they do it really well in Bull Angus. And so, and there really are no weak songs. There's one ballad on there, and even the ballad is excellent. And some of the material is pretty heavy, but a lot of it is just classic 70s rock, but it has all the moves. The songs are great. The singer's great. The rhythm section's killer. The keyboardist is excellent, and both guitar players are just top notch. So I give a two big thumbs up on that first Bull Angus album. Once again, I don't know why some reviewers think it's lukewarm, and they haven't really built up a cult following, and neither album has been released on CD. It's really a shame to me. And I have to say too, it's interesting. They're from Poughkeepsie, New York. I used to live about 30 miles from there when the band was active, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see them. But it's funny about New York bands like Haystacks Balboa and Mountain and Blue Oyster Cult and Bull Angus. They really have a predilection for having keyboard players, which is pretty cool and kind of a sign of bands in that area. I'm not sure why that is. But parts of the Bull Angus first album kind of reminds me of a lot of the work by Blue Oyster Cult, particularly on their third album, Secret Treaties. There's some similarities there that I think are apparent to me anyway. But for a classic 70s hard rock band, you really can't do much better. And I recommend the first album wholeheartedly. It really is as good as it gets and checks all the boxes. And so I love the band, and I'll even excuse that the second album wasn't as good because the first album is so great. They're definitely top notch in my book, and I still find that first album as impressive as anything that came out in that era. And also they have some great harmony vocals as well, which is always a nice touch. So they were definitely the full package. So anyway, Bull Angus, yowza. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.